But that work group changing, so you mean top performing organisations have that leadership bench, which I know you're very passionate about, in place. The research shows something like 3/4 have successors ready, willing, engaged in their pipeline, and lower performing, maybe a tenth of those roles are ready to be filled. With the global stage, and you've just described your working world today, how do you see that evolving? How do you see technology supporting that kind of mobility? Because we are very mobile and global.
So I'm really passionate about good technology and succession planning, because I've been through all phases when we've had it and we haven't. Several years back, I was still with ADP, been with ADP 10 years. And I remember sitting in a VP leadership development session. I was in the back of the room because I helped kind of create this session. And the leaders are talking about talent planning. I'm like, oh, this is good. They're talking about what we do. And one guy stands up and he says, yep, we do this once a year. It goes in a binder, then it goes on the shelf, and we never talk about it again. And you're like, oh, like that. So maybe a year later, I'm in a Women in Sales Leadership conference where we had our VPs and above there, and another VP stands up, and this woman I happen to know is a high potential, and she said, yep, once a year our senior team gets in a room and talks about us and our development, our strengths and opportunities, and our next role, but we never hear anything. So like double pain there. And I think about that, and I couldn't disagree with them, because we really didn't have the systems in place to connect those robust conversations and actually prompt those conversations and then connect them with strong individual development plans, which we do now. I run, and Andre knows this, we run a succession plan for 850 leaders across the globe. Every single sales leader gets calibrated, gets a successor if they have it, has an IDP, is involved in the process of connecting their development objectives to a development plan. And so that's really good. And then the most exciting part, and I think, I look forward to the evolution of this with my technology friends, is what's next, because the data we're starting to extract out of here, I can right now at ADP pull data in pretty quick order and tell you where we have gaps in our bench, at what level, in what geography, in what part of the world. I can actually pull a report and look at my leaders who are 2 years in role and see, do we have any commonalities from a development perspective that we can build learning interventions for, so we can scale. We have this process now we're evolving to where, and then I'll end this because I could go on and on, right? But we look at our critical roles, and those are roles that are really aligned with driving our strategy. So a lot of our roles at ADP are and should be critical, and our senior roles certainly are. But if you really ask yourself which roles in your company drive us into the future, it's a smaller percentage. So you take that answer and you bump it up against your high potentials, and you start to get a really exciting, actionable story. Is there ways that we need to move our talent to make sure we've got our best and brightest on those roles that are going to drive growth for the company? So you probably hear a little bit of energy in my voice, but we've come a long way from binders, and I look forward to what the next several years will come